Yes guys, welcome back to a brand new YouTube video today. My name is Hassan. I make videos on YouTube to help rugby players improve in their skill set and improve their knowledge of the game to hopefully allow them to play at a higher level. And in today's video we're going to be talking about the top 5 rugby boot manufacturers in my opinion, and I wanted to make this video just to kind of help you guys gain a kind of insight on which brands make the best boots in my opinion, and if you were looking to buy a new pair of boots in the future, then you can refer to this video and have a good idea of which brands you want to be looking out for and picking up boots from them. So with that being said guys, before we get into the video, I just want to remind you to make sure that you subscribe to the channel because you'll be updated and notified when I upload, and be sure to like this video as well if you find it useful. And yeah, let's get into the video. So starting off with this list, just to remind you guys, it is my own opinion. Obviously you might have different thoughts or opinions compared to me, but yeah, this is my list anyways. So starting at number 5, I have Asics. Now Asics are a footwear brand who are kind of based in Australia, and they specialize in footwear across many different sports. I'm thinking running, tennis, cricket, and also rugby. I really like their boots. I actually started off playing using their boots when I was younger. When I was about 12, 13 years old, I had a few of their boots growing up, and yeah, I really did enjoy using them. There were some pretty flashy designs, and I really liked the kind of technology that the boots used. They were really comfortable, and the only reason that they're at number 5 on this list, they would have been much higher, is just due to the fact that they are sourced abroad. Now, unless you're a rugby player who lives in Australia or New Zealand, then it's going to be quite hard for you to source these boots just due to the fact that they aren't really, sold within many retailers, especially in Europe and other regions of the world. So for me, being based in the UK, it's very hard for me to get a pair. If I wanted to buy a pair today, I'd either have to go on the second-hand market, looking at kind of websites like eBay or similar websites to that, trying to find a pair from a third-party reseller, or I'd have to source a Australian or New Zealand sportswear website and buy them through there. But the only issue with that is I'd be paying a lot of extra money just to cover the shipping costs to get them in my hands. So that is one of the slight downfalls of Asics only being kind of based in the oceanic part of the world. So that is why they are in my number 5th spot. So moving on to number 4, and I have Canterbury at my 4th spot. Canterbury, obviously based in New Zealand, but are a worldwide recognized brand in rugby. They make some really iconic team kits, and also are very much strong and famously recognized brand when it comes to rugby matchday clothing and rugby training gear. Now, in terms of Canterbury's boots, I am a fan of the fact that they have a lot of different options and models which tailor all the way from professional players all the way down to beginner junior players who may be playing and buying their first rugby boots. So they have options for all players of all different skill sets, which is amazing. And obviously they have different price points for different models. They have their elite models which the professionals will be using, and they have their entry budget level models as well for the new players or the younger players out there, which is really nice to see. The only thing and only main reason why I don't have Canterbury kind of higher up is besides the fact that I do really like some of the designs that they have, especially within the boots that they tailor towards the forwards. I really like how they look. I like the smart design. But on the other hand, I'm not a massive fan of the boots they make for backs. I just think they look a bit tacky, and to me they don't seem very professional in terms of the looks. But they may look a bit different in person. I haven't tried them and held them in my hand, so I can't make a final judgment on that. But it's just kind of due to the fact that Canterbury don't really specialize in footwear as such. Compared to some of these other brands on the list, they are very much more kind of revolve around the training gear and the match day clothing aspect of rugby, rather than solely making rugby boots. So that is why they're in my 4th spot. But I want to give recognition to the fact that they make boots for all different levels of players, and they are definitely trying to become a lot more expansive in terms of the designs and the technology they're putting into their boots. So now we're going to move into the top 3, and in my 3rd spot I have Nike. Now Nike is obviously a huge globally recognized brand when it comes to footwear. They sponsor some of the biggest athletes out there on the planet. But in terms of rugby, they don't make any rugby boots at the moment. I know back in the past they have, but at this current moment of recording they do not. And all the boots that they make that are worn by rugby players tend to be football boots. Now, this isn't an issue because the football boots that they actually produce come in soft ground variations where they have the metal studs underneath. This makes them perfect for, you know, playing rugby on soft ground surfaces like, you know, muddy grass, which a lot of players will be playing on. I really do like the kind of technology and the lightweight kind of aspects of the Nike boots. You know, obviously being made for football, they're going to be lightweight. You know, they have different models as well for people who have, you know, slim, more kind of streamlined feet, and people who have wider feet. So you can definitely find a model that suits you. I would say as well, another good thing about Nike is the fact that their boots are, you know, a very much so a globally recognized name. A lot of players buy the boots for the name, but as well as that, they make models from, you know, very budget friendly all the way up to the like really expensive models that the pros will be using. So, you know, just like Canterbury, there's a lot of different models that you can be looking to purchase. I think the main things just to highlight with Nike is the fact that obviously if you're looking to buy their boots, I wouldn't recommend you looking at Nike as a brand to consider if you play in the positions of either prop or second row, just due to the fact that they don't really have the right stud configuration for what you're looking for. Excuse me, but if you're playing in a different position apart from that, so hooker, anywhere else in the forward pack or anywhere in the back line, the boots that Nike make are going to be perfect for you. And if you're definitely looking for a lightweight boot that looks really smart and has a lot of good technology in, definitely look at Nike and consider them as an option. And now we're going to move on to number 2. Now number 2 is Adidas. Adidas might be the most globally recognized rugby boot brand out there. You know, they have a lot of top level athletes using their shoes on the field, and, you know, a lot of world-class athletes are endorsed by them. But on the same hand, I have got them at my number 2 spot for a reason. Now, me personally, I actually use one of the 2 models that Adidas make at the moment, the Kakari. The other model is the RS15, which I've also used in the past. And to be honest, I can speak very highly of them personally. I really like the comfort and the design of them. I think they look really, really smart, and I like the fact that they not only have very simple kind of plain colors, they have some really bright, bold, recognizable designs as well. So they definitely kind of put themselves out there as a good brand to go for, just due to the fact that they have really good designs which can, you know, cater for loads of different players, depending on whether you want a simple clean boot or if you want something a bit more bright and in your face. I have heard some complaints though from certain players who say they don't really rate Adidas, just due to the fact that there has been some kind of quality issues, just due to the fact that these boots are really massively produced on like factory conveyor belts, and, you know, there are sometimes some small defects which can affect the boots and, you know, affect the longevity of them. So that is one thing to keep in mind. But another good thing about Adidas is the fact that they make boots from, you know, the budget models all the way to the pro elite models that the professionals will use on the pitch. So you can definitely find the model which suits your price range and also matches your kind of ability level, which is awesome. And yeah, I think Adidas have a really good kind of reputable kind of name behind their brand. They've been making rugby boots for a long time now, and, you know, if they're good enough for the best players in the world who use them, you know, week in, week out in their test matches, then they're going to be good enough for you. Just make sure to pay attention to the size guides as well for Adidas, because some of the boots do come up a little bit small and some also come up a little bit big. So definitely do a bit of research before buying from Adidas. But yeah, on the most part, you won't be disappointed with them. Now, if Adidas aren't in my number 1 spot, you're going to be wondering who is. At number 1, I've got Mizuno. Now, Mizuno are a Japanese footwear brand who specialize in footwear, and that also extends to rugby boots. Now, I am a massive fan of Mizuno rugby boots, just due to the fact that they put in a lot of intensive kind of craftsmanship, and the quality of materials that they use in their boots is second to none. For their top of the range made in Japan models, which, you know, retail just over £300, which is obviously a lot of money for a pair of rugby boots, but there's a reasons for that. They are crafted in Japan, hence the name, but also they use the highest grade of kangaroo leather, which is really good for, you know, your feet and your comfort, because kangaroo leather is unique in the way that it molds and kind of forms around your foot over time. So if you were to invest in a pair of their boots, the top end boots anyways, they're going to be very comfortable, and you're definitely going to feel the difference compared to some of the competitive brands. I really like the way that Mizuno has, you know, recently kind of developed these modern rugby boots. I love the kind of one-piece silhouette where there's no actual tongue, it's almost like a sock. And I like the way that they look really smart as well. They've made some very clean, minimalistic designs, but also some really flashy ones as well. So I think they do cater for a lot of the market. They are a bit expensive, but I would say you need to look at it as more of an investment rather than, you know, something that's overpriced. I think if you buy one of their top end models, they're likely to last you at least 2 to 3 seasons, whereas if you're going to buy one of these competitors cheaper kind of boots, I feel like they might last you 3 to 4 months, but then could be exposed to the risk of, you know, having tears, or the material ends up ripping and you might need to replace them and spend more money than you needed to. I think Mizuno is just kind of, you know, uncomparable in terms of quality, and that's probably the biggest reason why I've got them at my #1 spot. They're not as popular as some of these big brands like Adidas or Nike, but they also definitely know what they're doing, and they are very much specialized in making high quality pieces of footwear. So that is the end of the video, guys. I hope you have enjoyed it. That is my list summarized, my top 5 rugby boot manufacturers. I hope you can take something away from this video, especially if you're looking to buy a brand new pair of boots yourself, and hopefully you can shortlist some of the brands off this list for when you're making your ultimate decision on which boots to buy next. If you did enjoy the video, please leave it a thumbs up, and be sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to be notified when I post again. And thank you guys, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.